Our next guest had to return all his Etsy shirts that read Brazil or Bust. Joining us on the Heiser Automotive Group hotline, wishing he were on Copacabana Beach, but instead will make the drive up the 95, is our good friend, editor of Pack Power 247, Cory Smith. Cory, did you have to return the thong as well?
No. Oh, boy, no. That was not a question I was expecting to hear.
So you did not return the thong is what you're saying.
No, I did not. Actually. I've held on to that, but no. I was just about to say bon dia, boys, but yeah, I was a little caught off guard there.
That's all right. Listen, we could be in Brazil right now, but instead we're here in Raleigh. That's okay too. Not, Virginia and Brazil. There's so many comparisons.
They call Charlottesville the Rio of the Mid-Atlantic.
Yes. Is that what I'm hearing? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's the opening line for the NC State Wolfpack team as they head up there. 5.5-point dogs to Virginia, facing one of the first of many transfer quarterbacks this season. Does State deserve to be dogs in this game, Cory?
I mean, I think if you look up and down the rosters, given what the proven commodities look like, and given the fact that UVA is at home, I think a lot of people would give UVA the edge. The thing that kind of gives NC State a feeling that it has a lot more dog in the fight than people are kind of giving them credit for is the fact that they feel like they have a lot of guys that have developed this offseason and a lot of talent they brought in that they feel like is ready to take the next step. And a lot of people are just kind of going, all right, well, and myself included, we'll wait and see and see what it all looks like on the field. But on defense and offense, you have a couple proven commodities. Obviously, C.J. Bailey, Duke Scott, some offensive linemen when it comes to the offense, and then you have Popo Aguirre and King Mack and a few other pieces, Harvey Dyson on the defensive side of the football, but you haven't seen them all together just yet. So I think it's about going out there and proving it on Saturday.
C.J. Bailey averaged 240 yards passing last year. Is there a possibility that he's able to equal that or surpass that based on the receiving core having completely turned over?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the reasons why that's possible is because now you don't have somebody that defenses are necessarily keying in on, especially early on in the season. Like, if JoJo Trader starts emerging as the wide receiver that people believed he was coming out of high school, then teams might start double teaming him and start trying to take him away. But, especially early on in the season, there's just so many unknown weapons at this point that teams are going to have to, play them honest and try to figure out, all right, is Victor Snow going to be the guy across the middle of the field that's going to emerge here? Is Davion Dozier deep down the field? He's kind of the home run threat for NC State. And then, you also bring in the tight ends in the discussion too. And what do those guys bring? Does Keenan Jackson take the next step as the one proven returning receiver for NC State? So I think the fact that he has a lot of options early on in the season can get him, maybe more passing yards than 240. And then if those guys truly do emerge and you have a lot of weapons, then I think he has a chance to really blossom late in the season.
Okay, so it feels like, there are still some certain questions about this offense and getting them moving. So within the club, what is the feeling about that receiving core, especially with Trader and Jackson and the others that have had to figure out their roles on this team and where they slot in terms of starters or just I'm the guy that comes out on 3rd and long?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we got a chance to talk to Joker Phillips last week, and Joker was, he said a couple times like he feels like there's a lot of upside in that room. He also talked about the fact that he's not used to having to rebuild an entire wide receiver room like he did this offseason. But he sounded pretty cautiously optimistic about the fact that there's a lot of different guys that'll rotate in and out and all serve different roles. And I think that's what makes this team optimistic about what this wide receiving core could be, because it's not like you have, all right, man, we went out there and recruited 5 burners, as far as like guys that you feel like can take the top off of the defense, and you don't have that one consistent guy across the middle. They went out there and they got multiple slot receivers that they really like. They went out and got multiple deep down the field threats that they like. And then you got a couple guys that you're like, all right, if a JoJo Trader pans out, a Victor Snow pans out, like those guys become more consistent receivers and guys that you can target on a consistent basis, then then there's a lot of different reasons to believe that this team can be a more complete wide receiving core.
Cory Smith, editor of Pack Power 247, joining us this morning here on Next Up, previewing NC State taking on Virginia up in Charlottesville on Saturday, the Week 0 season opener for both teams. Cory, you mentioned a lot of the newcomers on that NC State offense, and it's an interesting disparity between the two teams, with Virginia coming into this game with the most career snaps, starts, and games played on their roster of any Power 4 team heading into this season. NC State, of course, had a pretty important returner when it comes to C.J. Bailey at quarterback, going to be his third year playing with the Wolfpack, which is kind of a rarity these days in college football. How is NC State prepared to kind of counter that kind of age and experience for Virginia when they have so many newcomers, especially on that offensive side of the ball?
Yeah, your hope is with the talent, right? Because that's the thing that they brought in, that maybe there's not a ton of experience. Maybe there's not, guys that are, their entire offensive line, I think they have two fifth-year guys, 1 6-year, and 2 7th-year starters along the offensive line. They have 11,000 career snaps between the 5 of them for Virginia's offensive line. And for NC State, it's about, that young talent that they've kind of seen work their way through the process. Josiah Victor at the nose guard position, and then Katron Evans behind him. Now he comes back. Joe Adidere that comes over, from Texas Tech a couple of years ago, and the expectation is him being fully healthy can make an impact. Isaiah Shirley as well. And then, again, the talent that you have, they really like what they have in Chase Bond. You like what you brought in Popo Aguirre and King Mack and, a couple others like Andre Evans. If he's fully healthy, that's the guy that was a top 100 cornerback a couple of years ago that went to Georgia, didn't get a lot of chance to play. And then Brian Nelson that you brought as a 4-star transfer last offseason from North Texas, and they really like what they have in him. So if you can get all those guys on the same page defensively, and then the talent on the offense. We've mentioned it multiple times. JoJo Trader, former top 50 overall player in the country. Davion Dozier, a former SEC commit, went to Arkansas before going to App State. So you've got a lot of talent in that room. Now you just have to see it pan out, and can talent beat experience? We'll find out on Saturday.
Cory Smith, editor, Pack Power 247, joining us here on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Cory, I think we screwed up as media members when we voted during the ACC football kickoff. And what I mean by that is that when it came to the media vote, we all placed Virginia and NC State just below that top tier of teams. I think we screwed up. And based on what Max had said about a team with a lot of experience, and then with a team with NC State when it comes to the experience, when it comes to play calling, because I don't think enough can be said about consistency as by the person under center. This is a must-win for both teams, for them to kind of shove it in our faces and go, yeah, you weren't counting on us, but you should be.
Yeah, this is a table setter for either one of these teams. If you win this game now, and again, I don't think it necessarily kills your season for either one of these teams, or even your chances at an ACC championship game, or chances at a 10-win season, especially not for NC State. I think for UVA, they have a couple tougher games down the stretch, and obviously going to SMU. SMU is undefeated in ACC play at home so far since they've joined the conference, so not an easy place to win. But for NC State, if you win this game and then say you eke out against Louisville 4 weeks from now, 5 weeks from now in week 4, because we're talking about week 0, I keep forgetting that. But if you're able to win those 2 games and really set the stage in the ACC, because the ultimate goal here obviously is to get a 10 wins. You want to get double-digit wins. It's something that Dave Doran's talked about. But really the ultimate goal is to end up in Charlotte. They want to get there because we don't know how much longer the conference championship games are truly going to last. If you really want to get there and have a fair shake at that, winning week 0 is critical in doing that because, again, they play 9 conference games. There's 5 teams in the ACC that only play 8. If those teams go 7-1 and NC State goes 7-2, those teams get in because of the way that the tiebreaker works. So you got to win as many of these as you can and win against the tougher opponents because you never know what could happen late in the season with injuries and things along those lines.
What concerns you about Bo Prabula, or does anything concern you about him? It's not like he's coming into this situation of Virginia having put up, a 5,000-yard season and is a true dual threat.
Yeah, first of all, shout out to Terrence McCallan that works with us that wrote a full film room on him actually this morning. So if you haven't, do make sure that you check that out. You'll get a little bit more of an idea. But watching over some of the clips from last year, one of the things that I think a lot of people underestimate for him, and we'll see how much he ends up doing it, but he has some serious dual threat ability, and that was what ended up getting Mizzou off to a 4-1 start last season, getting them off to a strong open to the season last year. Now he struggled against some better teams, but I don't think NC State is rolling out Alabama's defense this upcoming year, unfortunately, and that's no shot at NC State or DJ Elliott, but that's a stout defense. That's a really tough defense to go out and face. And he struggled against those types of defenses last year. So, but he's got dual threat ability. One of the things for NC State, he's accurate with the ball, but if you can get him in third and long situations, he has a tendency, and watching, the last few, some of the big plays that he had last season or some of the big games he had last season, he had a tendency to overshoot his wide receivers, falling off on his back foot. So if they're able to get to him, get some pressure on third and 5, third and 8 situations where he kind of has to throw the football. Those types of situations NC State can win if they can finish those plays and create turnovers, create better field position for your team, and do all those things the way that they need to in this game.
Well, and like me, hopefully NC State's defense does not underestimate the UVA transfer quarterback and can make some plays on the road. Cory, always great to check in with you. Safe travels to the Rio of the Mid-Atlantic.
I'll enjoy it, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, Cory Smith, editor, Pack Power 247. They are running their best deal of the year, by the way, 75% off an annual VIP membership to Pack Power 247. Find them at 247sports.com. Just search out North Carolina State.
I'm Max Goren with 3 things you need to know right now from 99.9 The Fan. The Carolina Panthers are holding a final joint practice of the preseason today against the Houston Texans in Charlotte. Carolina will face Houston in their final game of the preseason on Friday. Coverage of that game and every Panthers game this season can be found on our family station, Mix 101.5. The SEC joined the Big Ten yesterday in opposition to athletes leaving the pros to return to college teams. The conference voted unanimously to prohibit any former NFL, NBA, G League, or WNBA players from joining an SEC roster. The ACC's members have meetings scheduled with Commissioner Jim Phillips later today. After dropping last night's series opener, the Durham Bulls will run it back against the Norfolk Tides tonight at the DBAP. Bulls coverage can be found on 620 AM Buzz Sports Radio, 99.9 FM HD2, and WRAL News Plus, with first pitch scheduled for 6:45 p.m. For all the latest news on your favorite teams, download the 99.9 The Fan app or visit 999thefan.com.
Golf's making some changes, quite a few changes, and I'm not talking about live golf either. That's the low-hanging fruit when it comes to golf. To be honest, I don't even know what they're doing. Are they doing anything?
They're folding.
Fully folding?
Or trying not to, I think, is what they're doing.
Are they fully folding? They're absolutely done? Because the PGA is like, hey, we're not doing there's no live golf path. So, I mean, and that's fine. That's the PGA, what they want to do. They're changing, though, now, and I'm afraid that it might be just, too much. I'm not sure where you can go from here outside of going, full volcano clown hole at the end of the year. They're going to do, in the postseason, they're going to do match play in a different tour championship. They're going to do this at the end of 2028. They're going to have a top 90 players kind of thing, and then they're going to do a season-long champion and bonus distributions. And then you could still have crowns and then whatever it is, and then they're going to go basically to March Madness? Is that the best way to call it? 32 golfers, 8 groups of 4. There'll be seedings. There'll be a second week of the Tour Championship. There'll be some playoffs. And then they'll do a match play bracket to determine a Tour Championship winner. I get the innovation. I get it. Anything to jazz it up and to make things I don't know, more. Does golf need to be more exciting at this point? Does it truly need this? I mean, it's cool, but I'm afraid you can't do much more than this. Like, once you get to this point, all you can do is what? Like the NCAA, expand the field. So everybody just gets in and gets to play for the Tour Championship. They've already borrowed soccer's relegation. That's happening. They're already inviting some new events, except this one with the good golf people, whatever it is. Like that whole ad thing that they screwed up. Yeah, that wasn't good. And they're working on it. But they've never done match play in the postseason, which, will make things certainly interesting. It feels like the Olympics could borrow from this. Like the Olympics, when they had golf, it was just one day, one round, and that was it. All right, here, who's the best today? Great, there's your gold medal kind of thing. It just feels like they're going as far as they possibly can go without being able to go, oh, we could expand it just a little teeny bit more. They kind of run out of the runway here. Like, let's just dump it all on the field. Now that we're burying live golf with the final shovels of dirt, let's just add everything that we've possibly been thinking about and see if it sticks.
I'm glad they're doing this, though. Like, there's been so much debate about how the Tour Championship should play. Like, should they have the starting strokes? Or like, should the winner of the Tour Championship, why are they not automatically the champion? And now that they are with the starting strokes, like, well, I don't know if that should be the champion if you're the season-long leader, but then you don't win in the Tour Championship. So it's all a mess. I think this match play bracket is going to bring some electricity to it as well. Especially the second week when it's like the single elimination. It's going to be like kind of March Madness style,
right,
so that's going to be fun.
March Madness. I'm like, the only way to make it better is to add more teams, add more players, keep adding more players. Just go full world golf. They could seed everybody, invite them from the Asian Tour and the DP Tour. Yeah, you know what? Live's dead. Do what you want.